Hey y'all, what's going on? Hey, my Rebecca, first one in the house. I know what I got to do. I got to turn this down. I probably got too much stuff open in my phone. Let me see. I am lagging, y'all. I'm trying to see where it's coming from. Do y'all hear me double time? Yeah, TikTok bad girl. Everybody done threw them little them hissy fits. I'm trying to see maybe I should go out and come back in. Hold on. I'm gonna go out and come back in because I'm lagging. Okay, is that better? That should be better. Yeah, they got to be better because I don't hear myself twice. Boy, that was irritating hearing myself twice. Lord. Okay, great, great, great. I mean, I was hearing the music twice, everything. I'm like, we got a whole remix going on. Yeah, girl. Yes, girl. They was doing a whole little hissy fit, honey. I mean, they was crying and everything. I say, Lord have mercy. I say, yeah, I got him. I, I got in my feelings a little bit, because I got a lot of videos over there, that I have saved and stuff that I intended on downloading, but all it did was just pretty much make a little, made my research a little bit harder. That was pretty much about it. But I mean, I really didn't go on up on there like that. I did. I enjoyed it, but if they was to shut anything down, I wouldn't really too much care as far as for Instagram and stuff like that. Like, and what's that other one? The one they call X, Twitter. I don't go on Twitter at all. I barely use Instagram at all. Only time I use Instagram is like to talk, to contact people or whatever, like supporters or anybody that's like on social media or something like that, just to be able to have some type of communication with anybody that's trying to get in contact with me. But that's about it. They threw a whole little hissy fit, honey. So how your day been going, Miss Rebecca? And once I get this video started though, I'm gonna go up in there and go grab my little freeze pop, honey. How's the weather where you at? It is freezing out here, child. Hey, Ro baby. It is freezing out here. I'm trying to give a couple more people to come in before I get started. So y'all, I am switching it up a little bit. Rebecca say it's going pretty good. It's cold. Yes, it is cold, honey. So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit today. Of course, we are going to speak on this story about this guy named Robert Brooks Sr. Um, this was based in New York. This situation happened on December 9th of last year, and he was deceased the next day. So I'm gonna wait a little bit to just at least allow at least two more people to come up in here, and then I mean once I'm at 9:40, I'm gonna give about 30 more seconds. Then I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I start my new classes on January 30th. Okay, girl. Yes, very much proud of you, girl. You was in it. You are in it. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, congratulations. Okay, so let me give y'all a small little briefing about Mr. Brooks. So, Robert Brooks, he's 40. He's 43 years old. He was incarcerated for stabbing his girlfriend multiple times. He was doing a 15-year sentence at Marcy Correctional Facility. He was being transferred from what's that Mohawk to Marcy Correctional Facility because he got into a fight at Mohawk after doing 8 years of his 15-year sentence. So basically, what he had 7 years left, for as far as doing his time before he was released. Um, so yeah, we gonna he had a really bad experience, during the time frame that he was getting transferred from Mohawk Correctional Facility to Marcy Correctional Facility. Hey, Blues, good to see you. Long time no see. Good to see you. What's up? What's up? What's up? So yes, y'all, we about to get into this video, and we're going to go from there. Let me go ahead and pull it on up. So we do have a few videos. I just want to switch it up a little bit, and then come tomorrow, I'm going to kind of get back into Nazaya's story because I want to go over. I want to do some reviews over the testimonies that was done during the hearings. So let me pull up my playlist real quick, and we're gonna get this party started. Okay. Okay, we're gonna start with this first video. This first video is pretty much speaking talking about what actually happened, and his son Junior and Mr. Brooks' baby brother is speaking at a conference. We're gonna start with this video, and then we're going to go to the actual body cam video of what happened to Mr. Brooks. So let me go ahead and play this, and then I'll share my screen. How's it been going with you, Blue? I hope all is well. I hope all is well. Okay. I'm sharing my screen right now with y'all.
Izabethmazur from the law firm Hughes, Sokol, Piers, Resnick, and Dim. I'm joined this morning by my colleague, attorney Steve Schwartz of Faraci Lang. And I'm also joined by Robert Brooks Jr., the son of Robert L. Brooks, and Jared Ricks, the brother of Robert L. Brooks, both of whom you'll hear from shortly. On December 9th, 2024, officers at Marcy Correctional Facility tortured and killed Robert L. Brooks. During this horrific occurrence, several other Marcy staff stood by, watched, and did nothing. Robert had done nothing to justify the use of any force against him, much less deadly force. Unbeknownst to Robert's killers, body-worn camera passively recorded much of the attack on video. As Marcy staff beat Robert to death, they believed that their actions would never see the light of day. After killing Robert, they went about their daily business as usual. Although the video of Robert's killing is extremely difficult to watch, it holds a mirror up to the violence and abuse Marcy prisoners face on a regular basis. It shows what Marcy correctional officers will do when they believe no one is watching. It paints an all too real picture of the rampant abuses that New York prisoners have reported for years, pleading for help and warning that the lives of people in custody in New York prisons are profoundly at risk. This morning, we have filed a federal civil rights lawsuit in the United States District Court for the Northern District of New York on behalf of the estate of Robert L. Brooks. Mr. Brooks was paying his debt to society. He deserved to live. He deserved the opportunity to finish his sentence and return to his family and his community. Now I'm going to turn it over to Robert's beloved son, Robert Jr.
Good morning. My name is Robert Brooks Jr. Today, my family is going through an unimaginable amount of pain. No one should have to experience what we are experiencing. The murder of my father by the people who are supposed to keep him safe. But we are also feeling incredible support for our community here in Rochester and everyone who's reached out all over the country. We want to say thank you to everyone who is standing up and saying what happened to my father should have not happened to anyone. I can't describe what it's like to receive the news of his murder or the experience of watching that awful video. I felt helpless, like I was there with him and there was nothing I could do. I wouldn't wish this nightmare on anyone. But as painful as it is important that the world sees these images. They have the power to spark the change we need. I want to tell you more about my father, though. He was more than the last final moments. Robert L. Brooks was a neighborhood hero. He was a great man. He was everyone's favorite uncle. He wanted to make sure everybody was happy around him. That's what made him happy. He was very passionate of creating music and writing short stories. One of my favorite memories of my father is when his car broke down, but he still made sure we got to the studio every day. I will continue his legacy, and I will make him proud by making my music. While my father was serving out his sentence, we would talk regularly, and we began to dream of a new life when he had got out. Those officers in the system they worked for, they robbed us of that opportunity. And I would never get my father back. They'll have to take it from me forever, but we will not allow his death to be in vain. This pain must lead to justice for my father and for our family, and we will not stop fighting until we get it. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jared Ricks, Jaredricks. Robert Brooks was my older brother and my only brother. Robert was 11 years and 1 day older than me, and as an older brother should, he was always there when I needed him. My first words were rah-rah for Robert. He was my role model, my voice of reason, my listening ear, and now he's gone. Growing up, I felt so lucky that Robert was my brother. Everyone loved Robert, and most of us wanted to be like him. I vividly remember rolling up to family gatherings and feeling like a celebrity as our family greeted us. Me personally, I wanted to walk like him, talk like him, dress like him. I wanted people to have that same glow when I walked in a room. No matter who you were or how long it'd been since he last seen you, he'd always make you feel important. My brother was my guardian angel before he got his wings. We frequently went to the movies, bowling, shopping. As I matured, he never shied away from those tough love conversations, which is part has given me the strength to be with you guys today. My brother and I shared a passion for music. He'd often bring me to the studio. When I got older, he started asking for my input on his music. He even let me get on one of his tracks, and I just knew we would go platinum. My brother had a meaningful and unique bond with so many people, some of whom I've known my entire life, and some who have shared their stories with me over the last month. My family and I are taking things day by day. You know, days turn to weeks, weeks turn to months, months turn to years. My brother had done 8 of the 12 years that he was sentenced to as seen fit in the eyes of the law. But the 17 individuals at Marcy Correctional Facility gave him a death sentence, and that's just not fair. People who are incarcerated are human beings. They have rights. They deserve to live without fear that something like this could happen to them. Our family is devastated, but we are also committed. We're going to use our agony to fight for justice so that no one has to watch clips of devastation 30 minutes at a time or go through the plethora of emotions that I've gone through in the last month. We want these killers prosecuted, and we want change. Big bro, we love you, and we won't stop fighting for justice and accountability in your name. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Steve Schwarz, SCHWARZ. I'm an attorney with Faraci Lang here in Rochester, one of the attorneys on this case. As you know, today we filed a complaint in the United States District Court for the Northern District of New York against 17 defendants who are directly or indirectly involved in causing Robert's brutal beating and resulting death. Because New York has sovereign immunity and cannot be sued in federal court for civil rights violations or wrongful death, we will soon be filing a separate action against the state of New York in the New York Court of Claims. Our legal team, headed by Liz Mazur of Hughes Sokol and me and my firm Faraci Lang, have extensive experience in this type of litigation. Our firms previously teamed up to successfully resolve the case involving the death of Daniel Prude 2 years ago. Our goal as attorneys is simple: to achieve some measure of justice for the family of Robert Brooks. We view that goal as having 2 separate but equally important components. First, we will pursue all legal avenues available to obtain compensation for Robert's family for what Robert endured in the last hours of his life and what his children have lost as a result of his death. But of equal importance to Robert Jr., Jared, and the rest of his family, we will leave no stone unturned in ferreting out the entire story of how Robert wound up at Marcy and how those who perpetrated this atrocity and those who casually stood by and watched came to believe they would never be called to account for what they'd done. The complaint filed in federal court this morning details not only the acts of hatred and violence perpetrated against Robert Brooks, but numerous instances displaying a pattern of similar conduct that have been reported for years and never adequately addressed. It is the sincere desire of Robert's son, Jared, his brother, and the entire family, that Robert's tragic death not be an end, but a beginning. A beginning to true reform of New York's medieval prison system that for too long has been driven by a culture of violence and intimidation. After years of lip service, we deem this a realistic opportunity for accomplishing meaningful change. These two goals can only be achieved by using every tool available under the law to uncover the entire story of Robert's death. We have filed the lawsuit this morning in federal court and will be filing the claim in the Court of Claims so we can begin the process of finding out how this horrible tragedy was allowed to happen and how similar tragedies can be averted in the future. With that, we will take your questions, and Joanna here will facilitate the question.
Jared and Robert, very sorry for your loss. I wonder if you have any idea of why Robert was at Marcy that evening, or in your discussions with him while he was incarcerated, did he ever said anything to indicate that he was worried about this kind of thing, or that this was something that he saw happening around him?
Okay. At the present time, we have no information about those questions, and those are questions that we're going to get to the bottom of as soon as we can get started in discovery, but we don't have any information that can help on that.
Have you learned any more about the exact cause of death at this point? And are you pursuing this second lawsuit against specifically Dobbs?
Well, the second lawsuit is against the state of New York. The first lawsuit includes some supervisors in the dock system. And as far as your question to the cause of death was the beating that he took. We don't have the autopsy report yet, but there's no question that there's a causal link between what happened to him and his death. But we don't have any data from the medical examiner as of this point. That report frequently are delayed because of toxicology that they do, but we do expect it soon.
Go ahead.
Jared, Robert, first let me offer my condolences as well. I think when everyone saw the video, there was this shock that it could have gotten to a point that we were seeing. What, if you can, share with us was your reaction when you saw that video for the first time? And had you known before that any of the circumstances that led to your father and your brother's death?
You want to start, Robert?
Yeah. So when I seen the video for the first time, I was speechless. I was devastated. I am a junior, so when I did see those officers beat my father, a part of this, I felt like I was there. I was him in that moment, and that it could happen to anyone. So the real word I would use is just devastated.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would say I was devastated as well. Just knowing that there were 17 individuals, however many were directly associated with delivering the lethal blows, but just knowing that I couldn't be there to help them, I just felt very helpless and enraged.
Do you, have you obviously probably seen that the governor has toured Marcy? There's a bunch of reforms that she talked about. Do you think that's obviously too little too late in certain situations, but do you think that's a good start? Do you think that's PR and a lot more needs to be done? What's your reaction then to what has happened so far?
Well, I think, let me just start out by saying that we're encouraged by the reaction of the governor and the administration. Obviously, words are one thing and actions are another, and we have to see follow through, and we intend to stay on that. Robert and Jared, you want to add anything to that?
So yeah, referring to what Steve said, yes, the bottom line is yes, we want them to get prosecuted, but we want them to do it the right way instead of not rushing it. So as far as the prosecution goes, we're trying to give them a little leeway, but yes, we want answers. So yes, we do want them to get prosecuted.
Go ahead.
So there have been multiple groups that have been getting together, protesting, raising awareness. I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of speak to all these people who want to mobilize to do something. What should people be doing? What should be the goal?
Liz, you want to take that?
Sure. I mean, obviously, it's really, I think, uplifting to see so many people have such a powerful reaction and also just express condolences and support for the family. Really, in my opinion, that's the most important. We've gotten so much mail, so many just phone messages from random people wishing the best to the Brooks family and kind of cheering us on in this fight. Maybe I would, I don't know if Robert or Jared has something to add.
Yeah.
I would, me personally, and for our family, I would like to say thank you, thank you, thank you. The support is tremendous. It doesn't go unnoticed. And we want you to keep fighting. We want you to keep going. And if anything we can make happen and we can make possible to work together, we will do it. I just want to say thank you again.
Hi, first of all, offer my condolences, and I wanted to ask, I know there were 17 individuals named in the lawsuit that were involved. No additional names were coming out over time. Is it 17, or is there other people being looked into that could be added to the lawsuit?
Liz, you want to go?
Sure. So we have named in the lawsuit the people that, based on the information that has been released so far, we believe bear some culpability in Robert's death. We have more questions for docs and the state about other individuals, and we'll certainly be looking at that. But right now, the people we've named are the people that we believe, based on the facts we have, we can proceed against.
We believe we know there was a cover-up, and we don't know at this point how many people were involved in that, and they could become additional defendants as we get more information.
Sorry, let's go back to Izzy.
Thanks. Also, apologies for your devastating loss. In terms of just the length of time that this probably is going to take, as you mentioned, kind of piggybacking off of the support that you're seeing as well. How are you and the family and the team that you've met here planning to draw together support for the ongoing fight, and just any messages for the continuation?
Well, I think that our first task is to find out what happened to Robert, and that is going to be a very important part of this. What was as devastating as what we saw in the video with regard to the violence was the nonchalant attitude of the other people standing around watching. And we feel that that is a sign that this is not a one-off incident, but this was business as usual. And so that is going to be a very important thing for us to find out. And with regard to the outreach, we've gotten information from all corners about other incidents, and some of those are in the complaint, and we're still developing others. So I think that at this point, we're at a very early stage because we don't have all the answers. But once we do, I think we'll be able to direct people in a much more meaningful way.
Yeah, I think, like we said previous, we truly appreciate all of the support and the representation that has come from this. Obviously, it's a terrible circumstance and definitely weighs heavy on our hearts, but we truly appreciate and have an understanding with each American that might have someone that is currently incarcerated or someone that has been previously incarcerated, and know that this isn't just a one-off, and their love and support that they've shown me, my family, and our legal team. We truly appreciate it.
How were you notified that your father and your brother?
So I remember the call. I was at work, and I got a call from my grandmother, Mary Brooks, and she told me to come home. And I knew something wasn't right. She didn't want to tell me over the phone, so we got the news from the prison, from Marcy.
You talked to them directly, or were you given the news from your grandma?
Yeah, I got the news from my grandma.
Oh, so they talked to her.
Yes.
Jared, you want?
Yeah, I got the news from my cousin. I was at work as well. There's actually a Christmas party going on downstairs. So for a little while, I kind of felt trapped, just with obviously the vigor of the emotions that I was going through. But yeah, my cousin reached out to me. That's how I found out. I immediately called Robert.
Are you skeptical about credit cards? With Chime, you don't have to be. There's no credit check and no interest. You easily build credit with on-time payments.
I'm very sorry for your loss. To your knowledge, had Robert had any previous interactions with any of the 17 people in question?
Yeah, we still have, again, we have no knowledge at this point. We are going to dig deeply into that. The mystery, one of the mysteries here is why he was at Marcy after he was actually housed in Mohawk. So we are very eager to get information on that, find out if there were any prior interactions with these guards, but at this point we have no information.
Does anyone not go yet, John?
Do you mind just while you're going through this loss that there were the guards, there were some that were named in lawsuits previously that they have a track record, just sort of what this means to that these people aren't new names to have these types of problems.
Yeah, let me start that, and then I'll have Robert and Jared add. There are a lot of lawsuits brought against by prisoners against guards for abuse, and it's very difficult to succeed in those lawsuits for the very reason that there's a lot of clever ways to avoid any evidence of what actually happened. This is kind of the first time that video like this has become available, but it's not the first time that something like this has happened. So I think that the changes that the governor's talking about to make sure that there are no blind spots at prisons is important. But from our standpoint, the guards that have been sued in the past, again, that's not a guarantee that they did things like this, but it certainly is a suspicion that we're going to look into. And guys, do you want to add anything to that?
We were just second around.
Robert, you mentioned that you had been making plans with your father about what your life together were going to be like when you got out. Can you talk about what those plans were a little bit and what that future was like?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. Me and my father, we had big dreams, and it didn't matter the size of them. Like we dream. I have a son, a 7-year-old, and during his incarceration, they would go regularly visit. So we had dreams on just going out and being able to have fun. For dreams as in doing our music, dreams as in he was writing a book. He was writing stuff a lot in prison where we wanted to do a book and we wanted to get it published. He was very close. He was getting close with my grandfather, and my grandfather has a community service. So my father, he felt like God chose his path to help kids and to give them kids better opportunity than he had growing up. So he had big dreams of helping the kids and publishing his book and just spending time with his family. He's been incarcerated 9 years, so just without guards being in the way or a time limit, it just spending time together, really.
What's the name of your grandfather's organization?
My grandfather, he has a community service on the what?
Men's Inspiring Boys and Girls.
You've mentioned cover up, and I actually wanted to know, when you did first get that call and get the information from Marcy, what was the story that Marcy Correctional told you happened, and how did that compare to what was actually seen on video?
So when we first started calling, obviously, when you find out that a loved one has passed, it's what's the cause of death? Was he in a fight? Who was involved? And for the most part, they wouldn't give us any answers. So I would say for the first week or so, we were getting all of the news through the news in real time, which is, I find, kind of disrespectful a little bit. But as time went on and we met with the governing bodies and things like that, we became privy to some of the situational things that led to this.
Liz, you want to add anything about the Attorney General's office?
Oh, sure, yeah, I guess maybe I'll back up a little bit too. When families lose a loved one who's in prison, it's often really hard to find out anything about what happened. It's extremely distressing for families. It sounds like those agencies, when they were initially communicating with the family, were pretty tight-lipped about what happened. We did meet with the Attorney General's office on the Monday before Christmas, and they kind of briefed us on things that had been going on, and they wanted to make sure that the family had the opportunity to see the video before it became public. And we certainly appreciated that. We could tell they were working hard on that investigation, and but there's still a lot of information we don't have since there's an open investigation. They obviously needed to keep some things quiet for now.
Those with Robinhood Gold can enjoy a 3% IRA match. Tremendous.
Yeah, I'm really interested in learning more about what type of music you and your father were interested in, but also what is the end game here? What do you want to see changed? I'm asking, the relatives here today. What do you want by this lawsuit and by the potential criminal charges that we expect may be coming?
Well, the most important thing is we want change. I want the name Robert L. Brooks to be known forever, and not just for his last final moments, but for the future. So this can't happen to any other individuals in the future, because it's a lot of incarcerated individuals, and I do want them to get prosecuted. Let that be known. Yes, I do want them to get prosecuted, and I also want change. I also want change to happen. That's the main goal. As far as music, my father was very creative. He didn't have a specific category or genre. It comes from R&B, hip hop to pop, soul, jazz. Like, my father was very creative. He was one of his last pieces I can remember vividly is him trying to do like a child cartoon, and he wanted me to do the images, and he would work on the audio part. And he was so excited, creating so many things. So my father was a very great man. I'll let Jared.
Yeah, I'll say, obviously the prosecution is step one, right? Getting these people, bringing justice against them. But long-term, I think the goal is to have some reform, some policies and procedures put into place. So like Robert said, this doesn't happen to anyone else. And once those laws go into effect, and that there's no blind spots and cameras to kind of shade the inhumane things that happen behind those walls.
What would you say to those officers who you saw kicking and punching and grabbing your brother by the neck? What would you say to them?
I mean, for me, I would say it's, my brother always used to tell me, to err is human, to forgive is divine. And I'm not at forgiveness yet. I'll just say there's consequences and repercussions for your actions, and at some point those are coming, and I hope you're prepared.
And like, this has been a long journey, so I've really been taking things one day at a time. I truly wouldn't know what to say if I seen those guys. I probably would be terrified for my life. But also, I feel like when you say nothing, that's the strongest thing. And I wouldn't even acknowledge them. I don't believe what they did was right in any shape or form. So I wouldn't really have anything nice to say. So thank you.
I couldn't help but notice the pins that you guys were wearing. You want to tell us a little about that?
So yeah, these pins we're wearing are in honor of Robert Brooks, my father. And
my auntie Barbara, she has 1,000 of them made up, and this is just to show our support and feel like I have a piece with me at all times. And also, all these cameras are here, and I want the world to see his face always.
Robert, you mentioned you visited your father in jail in prison during his time that he was incarcerated, did he ever to you express concerns about his own safety behind bars?
No, my father was very protective, and even if he did feel he wasn't safe, he wouldn't tell. He wouldn't tell me because he know how much I care about him and how worried I would been. And my father was that type of man, so he didn't know. He did. To answer your question, no, he didn't express his concerns or for his health.
Just hearing that you did visit him and talk to him, what was your last conversation with him like? What was the last thing you told him?
So the last time I visited my father was a week prior to his birthday. He's a Leo, and our last conversations was very peaceful and mindful. My father, we never grew up in a church, so my father was getting big into God. He was getting big into the Bible. So our last visit, I remember vividly, he told me, like, you don't know what tomorrow brings. Get close with the Lord, be peace with the Lord. My dad was at peace for coming home. My dad was very much at peace. So our last conversations was he wanted me to be the man he always wanted me to be. And I told him I was working on that. So that was like our last conversation. Thank you for asking.
You mentioned that you both worked on the Daniel Food case as well. Could you talk about the similarities or the lessons that you took from that case compared to this case?
File free in the app by 2/18 when you switch to TurboTax Do It Yourself.
Sure. Well, the crude case obviously involved the Rochester City police officers and a situation where someone who was having a mental health crisis was killed by the police officers' actions. The difference in this case, in a sense, is that Robert Brooks was in the system and was a threat to no one. Was bound as he was being beaten. So the deaths are similar and they're both tragic and horrific. This one, though, was much more purposeful, I think, and that makes it all the more outrageous that these officers felt, not only the officers, but the others that watched, felt that this was just something that they would never have to account for and that they could get away with. And that's what troubles us the most, I guess, is that this is the tip of the iceberg, we think. And that's why we're very interested in digging deeper. But we feel that we successfully resolved the Prude case and got justice for that family. And we hope to do the same thing for this family. But beyond that, and in the Brute case, we also, again, we're hoping to shed light on some of the tactics that have caused these kinds of deaths. In this case, we hope to shed light on what's going on in the prison system.
Oh, one other thing I would maybe just add is that in the Daniel Prude case, like there is in this case, the criminal justice system was also looking at what the officers had done and was determining whether charges should be brought. And that process resulted in no criminal charges being pursued. And that felt like, I think, a big disappointment to a lot of people. And this obviously, we're hopeful that this case does not go in that same direction because some criminal accountability is really important to the family and community and certainly called for based on what we can see in that video.
Just curious, does Robert have any other family in the area, and how closely have you been communicating with them through this process?
When you say family, can you clarify, please?
Just, I was wondering if you had any other family in the upstate New York region.
Oh yeah. We have we have several family. He has his last name's Brooks. So and Brooks is my Mary Brooks, that's our side, that's the mother side. But he's also he has the Rick side as well. And we're all over the place, but he has a lot of support here in Rochester, yes.
All set, anyone else? All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, y'all. No, y'all ready? I hope y'all ready to see this video, cause look, this is also a trending topic as well. You know, very important. You know, we need to educate ourselves about these things that's still going on in the modern day world. Um, sitting up here eating my freeze pop, y'all. But we about to get into the video so we can see, you know, what they did to Mr. Brooks, and then from there, we will have probably 2 more small videos after that. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Very respectful young man. Definitely. Well, baby, if they do not get justice for this man, it's gonna be a problem. It is definitely gonna be a problem. All right, y'all. This is really graphic, so y'all brace yourself. Also, there is no sound. This video do not have any sound on there. So this part right here is they had just took him up out of the car from being transferred from the other jail. He's supposed to be they supposed to be taking him straight to the infirmary because he had just got into a fight. So this is them, you know, taking him inside. Hey, so y'all see all these officers up in there. You got nurses. Man, he's still handcuffed. They say he was bound when they brung him in. Hey, Mina Boo, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. So this is a video about a young man, a man that was 40. He was 43 years old, and his name was Robert Brooks. He was getting transferred from one jail to the next, and when he was on his way to the infirmary, the police decides to bring him to the infirmary, and then they just started attacking him. So this is the video of him getting attacked. Yeah, he is already bound. He was bound when they brought him in. Like he already, I mean, he can't do nothing. So what? I mean, this is a mess. If they don't, and this gonna be the crazy part, y'all. They have not arrested any of them. What they did was suspend them without pay. They suspended him without pay. None of them have. They got their cameras. Well, it's gonna get explained about how their cameras work. But whatever it is, they made sure that you wasn't gonna be no sound on here. So we don't really know exactly what was being said to him while they attacking him. I mean, look at all of them just standing around just watching. That's why they say 17. It literally was 17 of them. It's some outside of the room, that's just, they would come in and go back out. What you about to see now, it's some outside the room too. Yeah, this happened in New York, Mina. This happened December 9th. And he passed away from his injuries the next day, December 10th. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna play of that, y'all. I don't want to see no more. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna play of that. So yeah, y'all see how really bad and how sad this situation is. It's crazy. Like, Mina say, did they unlike him? Unalive him? Yeah, he passed away from his injuries the next day on the 10th. He was taken to the hospital and he passed at the hospital. So it's been, it has been a little outrage for the past couple of weeks about this situation. It's definitely sickening. It's definitely sickening. So I'm gonna play this other video, and it's not violent. It's people voicing their opinions, and I know I normally follow this particular these content creators that they used to be cops, and they pretty much explain a lot of things as far as like why certain cops, whether they dirty, good, or whatever, they give us the lowdown of the laws and what they're supposed to do and stuff like that. So the procedures and stuff, to get our understanding about things. So we're gonna play that as well. Let me go ahead and share my screen again real quick. Give me a second, y'all. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen with y'all. Yeah, I think that whoever recorded that, they just repeated that same recording. I didn't want to watch it again. Nah. Okay, here we go. Let's get Stephen Smith. Let's get his opinion about this.
Those are the kind of things that I want to address.
See what his thoughts are.
And when I say I want, it doesn't mean that I'm always taking enjoyment in showing things or speaking on things. It means that it's necessary and it's unavoidable. And it's something that we have to make sure that we touch on. There is a video that is circulating throughout social media. This video, it's newly released. Unveiled Friday by the state attorney general's office in the state of New York. It is a horrifying video footage showing a fatal prison beating of a handcuffed black man by New York correctional officers. Reading from the Instagram post, it says, in a horrifying display of brutality, newly released footage captures the fatal prison beating of a Mr. Robert Brooks at New York's Marcy Correctional Facility. Shockingly, several officers were executing the attack. The video shows correctional officers relentlessly assaulting the 43-year-old man as he sits handcuffed, helpless to defend himself. Officers are seen, and I saw the video, and you'll see some of the images right here. You can see officers are seen punching Brooks repeatedly, one striking him with a shoe, a couple even lifting him by the neck only to drop him back onto a medical examination table. They just kept beating him and beating him. Ladies and gentlemen, this was worse than Rodney King. Remember Rodney King in the early 90s in LA? And remember when the riots ensued because the police officers got off after being caught on video beating the living hell out of him with batons and kicking him and all of this stuff? Why was this worse than that? Because Rodney King lived. Mr. Robert Brooks is dead. Statement from the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, says this senseless killing is outrageous and horrifying. 13 correctional officers and a nurse implicated in the incident are facing termination. What the hell do you mean termination? Why aren't they arrested now? It's on video. You know who it is. You've articulated it's 13 of them and a nurse. At the very least, where's the arrest of the officers we saw choking him, lifting him up by the neck, kicking him, hitting him with the shoe, punching him in his midsection and beyond, kicking him in the groin? Where are the arrests?
For real. Let's talk about it.
Excuse my language. The fuck do you mean termination? Where's the arrest? Why are they not in cuffs?
Period.
Why is there not a perp walk with them walking in to a courthouse, lawyered up in front of a judge, having to give a plea of guilty or not guilty? Why has that not happened yet? Why not? Maybe because it's not. Maybe because it's not Monday. Monday now. It's Monday now. Why have they not been arrested? Give a damn about a termination. Bump a termination. Who cares? They need to be arrested now. There needs to be a perp walk now. We need their faces. We need to know their names. We need to show the world who they are. They're murderers. They're murderers.
Yep.
The video's right there.
Right there.
So we can have. Yeah, I'm going to go here. Because I don't disagree with what happened to P. Diddy. After the video in the hotel of him hitting and kicking his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, we also saw raids on his house by Homeland Security. We've seen charges that have come down the pike. We'll find out whether he's guilty or not guilty, but we know that his reputation has been irreparably damaged. We saw him get arrested.
Exactly.
We knew he was turning himself in. Y'all still made sure it was a perp walk. We saw him get arrested. We saw him thrown in jail. He got to await trial in the spring. No problem there with the accusations that have been leveled against him, with the charges that the case that the government thinks they have against him. Cool, no problem.
Exactly.
This ain't no civil case. That's a criminal case. I got it. Well, what the hell is this? Ladies and gentlemen, this is worse than what happened to George Floyd. That's right, I said it. And don't get me wrong, because there's no way in hell that should have happened. Derek Chauvin is a murderer.
Period.
Those cops that sat back and did nothing were complicit, and all their asses should be in jail.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
And the loss of the breath of life is the loss of the breath of life. And it's painful, and I get it. Suffocating, calling for your mama, gasping for air. That's cruelty. I got it. But Robert Brooks was beaten to death while handcuffed. He wasn't just killed, he was tortured on camera It was caught on video. Where are the arrests?
Exactly.
I want names. I want faces. That the governor of New York is going to come out and says 13 correctional officers. I want to know all 13. I want their names. I want their faces. I want them on camera. Every one of them. Every one of them. Damn it, the nurse too.
Period.
I didn't see a nurse hitting this man, but if you're going to say that the nurse is implicated too, show the nurse as well. All of them. All of them.
They suspended them.
It says here,
without pay.
equally chilling is the revelation that body cameras worn by the police officers, or by the correctional officers, I'm sorry, were not activated, leaving the public with only silent, blood-chilling visuals of Brooks being stripped and left motionless on his back.
You won't find confidence on any list of SUV features, but there is one brand that has it in spades.
Letitia James was a very conspicuous figure when it came to Donald Trump's case. This is what we want to see a DA
Period.
prosecuting.
Let's go.
I'm not sitting up there and getting into the whole Trump thing, guilt, innocence, or whatever. I'm just saying, when you talk about menaces to society and a DA that goes after them and makes sure that folks are punished, this kind of stuff we want to see. Every single individual who put their hands on Robert Brooks is guilty of murder. You want to determine first degree, second degree, fine. It's one of them. He's dead. You want to sit up there and talk about manslaughter, whatever. I never understand why I got to be manslaughter instead of murder or whatever, but figure it out. The point is, anybody that put their hands on him is guilty of murder. And anybody who stood by and watched and did nothing is complicit, although not directly guilty of murder. But you're complicit. I want names. I want faces. All 13 and the nurse.
Say that.
All of them.
Say that.
Having said all of that, there is a way for times to get better. There is a way to potentially, at least, derail some of this and to bring a heavy hand down upon those who transgress in such a fashion and those who are complicit, whether it be with their ignorance or their neglect. And you know who it's in the hands of? Donald Trump.
Mm-mm. Hold on, y'all. Get to the next video real quick. Brutal. 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 So yes, y'all, we are going to be keeping up with this story, you know, because I believe this is really going to go worldwide. Brits say this world will never change with the white policeman and black woman or black man. Super fans say in situations like this, I feel each individual should experience the same exact thing. Me too. They stood there and watched whether they touched them or not. The laws still apply. Royal Baby said the nurse watched, so therefore she approved because she could have called for help. Exactly. Period. Rebecca say, hey, Tiff. Britt say yes, per baby, she should have called for help. Absolutely. So y'all, we definitely gonna be keeping up with this because I want to see exactly what's gonna happen, with this particular situation, all of that. Because look, no matter how this situation turn out, it's about to get reckless. It's really about to get reckless. They gonna put them inmates on shutdown. It's about to be all kind of well, hopefully it don't be no riots. You know what I mean? But I mean, situations like this, y'all see what happened with the George Floyd situation. So it wouldn't surprise me if it do end up being, a riot or whatever behind this if justice do not get served. So yeah, most definitely, y'all. Hey, Amelia, welcome, boo. I missed you. How you been doing? We finna get to the next video, y'all. Well, y'all welcome Amelia in. So this video that I'm getting ready to play is actually an inmate that knew why Mr. Brooks was transferred from one jail to the next. So this is what this video is about, and it's not long at all. So, but he was speaking to somebody, and he knew why this man was transferred from the get-go.
I told him, I said, yeah, you're in that prison. And that was like right after I talked to you the first time. And I told him, I said, yeah, he was telling me that there's a couple more bad ones left in there.
At least 5 or 6. Shit, the one in the mess hall just now, I see them beat an inmate up right at the guard shack here when we go to the rec yard. Just body slam this kid for no reason. Just for like, I don't even know what it was, but he took him out the guard shack and just body slammed the kid, and the kid started fighting back and gave the CO a black eye. Shit was actually a good little karma for him.
That's shit.
And the CO was flailing on him like a girl windmilling. That shit was funny. Looking hilarious. It was a little ass kid, like a little 120-pound dude, and this dude's like 250 pounds, big fat bastard, total piece of shit, just wailing on the kid, windmill style. It's crazy.
And there's nothing you guys could do about it in there. That's shit.
Nah, I don't know. The only way you can do something is when they fuck up and kill somebody like that. And now it's on. Now everybody can voice their issues, but before they don't care. You can call OSI from these phones. They got an Office of Special Investigation that investigates shit. They don't give a fuck. Nobody cares.
I'll tell you what, they are definitely investigating the shit out of this one. If it wasn't for those body cams, nothing would be getting done.
Yeah, and they really thought those body cams were off when they were blinking green. Little did they know that they're always recording, and when they're blinking green, it's just the videos on and not the audio. They thought they had to actually turn it on to get it to record.
Now, do all the COs have to wear those body cams?
Yeah, in this prison they do. Not in all of them. I know some prisons they don't have them yet, but this one, they have to have them here. The last time I was here, they would seriously brutalize you. They would just go by the windows, and if they seen people smoking outside the bathroom stalls, they would just rush in here and beat the shit out of everybody that's outside the bathroom stalls. Even if you weren't even not smoking. I was a non-smoker one time and almost got my ass kicked, but they knew who I was, so they didn't do anything.
No shit.
I've seen them whoop everybody's ass. I've seen them take out 4 or 5 people at the same time. They call them the goon squad. They used to run in there like 6 of them deep and just start beating the shit out of everybody.
Wow, and they can get away with all that.
Yeah, that's why they got cameras here. Because of that shit. Last time I was 2021 when I was here, they used to do that. But now they got cameras this time. And you can see what kind of shit they still try to pull behind people's backs.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, if it wasn't for those body cams, nothing. I mean, what? Do you know what happened in Mohawk? Why he was sent there?
Yeah, he got in a fight. Well, that's where he was doing his time. He was doing 12 flat, and he already did 8 years out of his 12, and he was in Mohawk doing his time. He came down from a max, and he got in a fight with inmates there. And then they shipped him out because they were going to cut him up and shit. And then must have started problems with the COs, either leaving there or on the way here because the way they carried him in, they carried him in the front doors like that. So he was problems on the van, something.
Yeah.
So when he came here and he was already problems, they just brought him into the little room there into the infirmary and just you've seen how the rest of that played out. That's for damn sure.
That was awful.
You could see he was fine when they were carrying him in. He was bucking, bending his legs and pushing back. So he was bucking. He was definitely fine when he was here. They certainly wasn't fine 2 hours later.
God damn, that's fucking awful. Well, the rest of those COs that are in there that are not good, I bet they're dotting their I's and crossing their T's.
They're hoping to God that their buddies ain't telling them, because you know damn well those guys are working with the feds right now. Be like, oh, if you give me a better deal, I'll tell you about something that this guy did or this guy did. Because these guys are all dirty. Well, not all of them. There's a good handful that are cool, actually. And then there's some that are not hands-on. But there's certainly 5 or 6 more that are hands-on, and they're scared to death because they don't say shit. You can just see it in their faces. They want to say stuff. They love stuff they would usually talk shit about, but they don't say shit now.
Wow. Oh, yeah, because they're being investigating something terrible.
And their buddies might be telling on them for something that they've done in the past. So they're like, fuck, I got to just be an angel right now. You know, damn well those guys are trying to get out of their charges. Because you've seen Letitia James had to step down because she represented them as like a criminal defense lawyer of some sort.
Okay, yeah. All right. So we pretty much know what we're dealing with, y'all. Excuse me. We pretty much know what we're dealing with. So yeah, this is about to be a whole mess and a real big change of events. You know, everywhere. Amelia, I really hope you feel better, babes. Seriously. Real baby say, oh, they're gonna come up with lies, but nothing justified that beating. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. That's I'm definitely gonna be keeping up with this. I want to see, if they're gonna end up going to trial or what. Okay, y'all speaking. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all do y'all up in the chat, and I'm about to get this other video up. It's about some ex-cops. They pretty much is gonna be expressing how they feel about the whole situation, and let us know like the proper procedures and stuff like that, and how and what these cops did wrong, and actually their intentions for not having their cameras activated throughout this whole process. So let me grab this video real quick. Okay, here I come, y'all. That's crazy. I probably didn't even save it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it up a different way. Yep, I'm gonna pull it up a different way. I know I should have gave y'all some intermission music or something, huh? Sure. That's okay. I'll get better. It'll get better. I can't believe I literally and watch I end up finding it when I'm not even looking for it. Just watch. I already know. Because I had started watching it, then I turned around and and started doing other stuff. So I didn't actually finish watching it myself. Okay, this sucks. Oh, hold on, y'all. Let's see what this about. Cause baby. Hold on. Yeah, Con. Let me share this while go ahead and finish looking. I could probably pull it up on my phone. That way I can just type in what I need to type in on this laptop. I can put this on real quick.
To death by prison or jail workers in, it looks like a hospital setting, y'all. Now, this story has taken the nation by storm as an example of official overreach of, while I don't think these were police, but police brutality and all of that sort of thing. And the latest development in this is the Attorney General for the state of New York. Her name is Letitia James. She is known for being one of the people going after Trump, right? Letitia James says that her office is recusing itself from prosecuting these officials who perpetrated this act.
Hello, and Happy New Year. Earlier today, after much consideration, research, and review, my office decided to recuse itself from the investigation of the correction officers involved in the events preceding the death of Mr. Robert Brooks at Marcy Correctional Facility in Oneida County. This decision is not one that was made lightly, but we believe this is the best course of action to protect the integrity of the investigation and to ensure accountability and justice for Mr. Brooks, his family, friends, loved ones, and for all New Yorkers. My office's Division of State Counsel by law represents state agencies in legal matters, including the Department of Corrections and correction officers. My Office of Special Investigation investigates matters where an officer of the law may have caused the death of a civilian. As part of our Office of Special Investigation cases, we do internal conflicts checks. After obtaining video and identifying the officers involved in the incident, we conducted this standard check. 4 of the correction officers under investigation in the Robert Brooks matter are currently defendants in other matters and are being represented by lawyers in the Office of the Attorney General. While we are confident in the firewalls set up between the Division of State Counsel and the Office of Special Investigation, even the possibility or mere appearance of a conflict could tie up a potential prosecution in lengthy legal challenges, or get a potential prosecution outright dismissed. And I will not allow justice to be delayed or denied because of a conflict. Earlier today, we filed papers in Onondaga County Supreme Court under County Law Section 701 to appoint Onondaga County District Attorney William J. Fitzpatrick as a special prosecutor in this matter. When a prosecutor is unable to take a case, County Law Section 701 allows for the appointment of a district attorney in the same judicial department. District Attorney Fitzpatrick has served Onondaga County for over 30 years. His office is well-resourced to handle this complex and large investigation, and I thank him for taking on this case. Additionally, my office's Division of State Counsel will not represent the Department of Correction and/or its officers in this investigation. Again, this decision was made with the utmost respect for the integrity of this investigation, and we will ensure that there will not be any delays. My Office of Special Investigation will hand over all records to the District Attorney's Office immediately. My office has spoken with representatives of Mr. Brooks's family to explain this decision. And I want to take this opportunity, again, to express my sincerest condolences to them during this unimaginable, difficult time. It is critically important that justice is served. And this decision ensures that it will be.
Is your collagen a superfood? Is it super easy to add to your...
Hey, y'all, I found it. Hey, Miss Sexy. I spelled your name wrong up in the chat, girl, trying to sit up here and multitask. I was trying to find this doggone video at the same time. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Okay. I found it. I like their little show too. Like they give you they educate you a lot, you know, on a lot of things. Let's see. Because this was that, I think last thing they, okay, this might be it right here. Yeah, this is it. This is it. This is it. I'm gonna pause it. Come back to y'all. Yeah, girl. I'm like, when I went back and checked, I'm like, Ash. I put Ash. I was trying to write Miss Sexy, Jeff. Okay, here we go, y'all.
Offered by the Savage Training Group. Kyle and I are going to be in Vacaville, California in February. March, we'll be in Bray, which is in Southern California. And in April, we'll be in Pennsylvania. Go to thesavagetraininggroup.com and sign up for one of these classes. You can also request that we come to your location to host a class, savagetraininggroup.com. What we know is this incident happened December 9th, 2024, when inmate Robert Brooks was transported into an exam room where he was ultimately beaten and later died. We're going to watch some video clips on this incident, and then Kyle and I are going to share our opinions on what actually happened. Let's watch the video.
Disturbing new body camera footage shows the bloody face of 43-year-old Robert Brooks as he is being beaten by correction officers, struck more than a dozen times, all while handcuffed. It happened the night of December 9th in the infirmary at Marcy Correctional, just outside Utica.
My office investigates every case in which an officer of the law, including a correctional officer, may have caused the death of a civilian.
New York Attorney General Letitia James opened an investigation last week and on Friday released body camera footage from 4 officers' body cameras.
I do not take lightly the release of this video.
That night at 9:21, body camera footage from Sergeant Trombley shows a handcuffed Brooks being escorted outside, his body parallel with the ground. A minute later, he's seen being carried by 3 officers into the infirmary. He's placed on an exam table. At 9:24, video shows this officer with his body cam off walk into the room and shove a cloth in Brooks's mouth. He punches Brooks in the face once, then hits him 3 more times. Then this officer with the backwards hat punches Brooks and smacks him 3 times with Brooks's own shoe. At this point, 8 officers surround Brooks, some just watching. At 9:26, the officer that shoves something in Brooks's mouth can be seen stomping on him. 3 other officers then hold Brooks down as one officer punches him again. Seconds after taking his foot off Brooks, this officer punches Brooks in the rear 3 times. An officer then comes in with leg restraints. Brooks's pants are then stripped off his body. By this point, more than a dozen members of law enforcement are there, many watching, some seen smiling.
This is the one who keeps it moving. He stocks the right parts and knows just where to find them. Because this.
Okay, so we just watched clips of the video of what happened. We'll play more clips as we talk about this and go along, because there is no audio. And I want to touch on that real quick. There is no audio because when you are wearing your body cam and you have it on, it's constantly recording. It will only record audio if you actually hit the button to make it activate and turn on. So just because the camera's on, there is no audio. You have to physically hit the button to turn the audio on, and then it can rewind 30 seconds to a minute back, and it'll pick up video, but the audio never will kick on until you actually physically turn it on. So, and I do want to touch on this, is that all of the correctional officers that are in this video, they all have body cams on. There's, I think, 8 different body cam angles of this incident. Not a single one of those deputies or correctional officers had their body cameras activated. So that's why, if anyone's wondering why there's no audio, that's why. So they're able to go back and actually get the video footage from it, from the server, because that camera is always recording when it's turned on. But there's no audio because none of them actually activated their body cams. So this is actually news to me, and you talked to me about this earlier. I was under the belief that your camera was on and it was recording, but every 30 seconds it would re-record over itself until you activated that, and then it would back up 30 seconds. I actually had no idea.
No, so yeah,
it's
you're
continuously
recording. These things are continuously recording, and they're not actually capturing any audio until you physically turn it on. So there are some people that were asking why there's no audio, and that's why. We did have a lot of people message us on social media. They emailed us. We had a ton of people send us the video, and they wanted to know what our opinion is on it. So when you watch the video, what is your first thought?
I'm not okay with any of this. I want that very clear. I'm not okay with this. That should never have happened. But there's a group of people that are not acting differently at all. Like, they're witnessing this beating of a person that is handcuffed, that's laying on an exam table or exam bed, and none of them have any facial expressions. Like, no one's trying to intervene. And I think there's 13 people under investigation for this, and not one person tried to intervene in this. And we're watching the body cameras. No one's intervening.
Yeah. So, okay, here's my take. Taking emotions out of it, the guy's an inmate. It says he's in there for some type of aggravated assault. He's serving a 12-year prison sentence. I don't know why he's taken to the medical exam room. We tried to find it. It doesn't say. Maybe that's because of medical reasons or because it's being investigated. And then I got to thinking, like, I don't think it really even matters. It doesn't matter why the guy's in the medical facility in the first place. It doesn't matter if he attacked a correctional officer. Maybe he was having a medical problem. I have no idea. The point is, and this is where I think the profession of being a police officer is probably one of the most unique professions there is, because 1 minute you could be using force against somebody, whether that's deadly force, some type of use of force, anything. And the next second, you could be applying first aid and trying to save somebody's life who potentially maybe just try to kill you or hurt you. And I think that's where, like, in this job, that's what's so difficult, is being able to turn that switch on and off. We did a podcast a while ago last year with Kathy Greenberg, Dr. Kathy Greenberg, who teaches emotional intelligence for Special Forces Tier 1 level Navy SEALs. And she talked heavily about, being able to control your emotions in stressful situations and being able to turn that switch or dial that up or down as needed. And I think when you watch this video, none of that happened. So when we sit here and say like, oh, well, why was the guy taken in there in the first place? Well, I don't know. What I do know is that he was handcuffed. He's basically defenseless unless you want to say, can somebody attack you in handcuffs? Absolutely. It happens all the time. But when you have 13 or 8 guys in a room, it looks to me like in the video, the body cam video that we're seeing, he's not trying to do any of those things. He's literally sitting there on the bed. So whatever happened prior to that, I can honestly say, like, I don't think I care. I really don't care, because right now you're dealing with a different situation. And that's where people have a hard time comprehending, or cops have a hard time comprehending. They say, well, maybe blank before that time he had attacked a correctional officer. He might have. But again, it comes back to like the unique part of our job is it doesn't matter, because whatever that situation was then was already dealt with. And now you're dealing with a new situation. So to beat a guy in handcuffs because you're so emotionally driven by that, that's where a lot of cops go wrong. And not even just in this video, but you watch a ton of other body cam videos, which we do a lot of. And to me, we always say it, like, don't let your emotions dictate your tactics. If you can't dial that down, or you don't have the training or mental wherewithal to be able to dial that down.
All of them, though. Not all of them. Stop it. Not all of them, man.
There are many ways to do it at Planet Fitness, but only one way to start. Come in. We're all strong on this.
Nah, I think he trying. Don't play on my top. Nah, all of them ain't in no emotion.
You're going to find yourself getting in a lot of trouble. And by the looks of this video, I'm going to go ahead and say, this is the culture of that
I'm emotional every damn day. Shit.
agency and that correctional facility that they're in, because all of those guys were laughing. That is obviously acceptable to them. And it's a big red flag to me that not a single one of those deputies or correctional officers turned or activated their body cams, which means this is something they probably do often.
I would say it is a cultural thing. And 4 of these individuals that are involved in this are already under an investigation for other acts of abuse.
That does not surprise me one bit.
Which I do agree with. It is a cultural thing, and I do want to come back to that. But I want to add a little bit on what you were saying about you don't really care why he's there. And I do agree with that. And that's, I think, where you and I, we have our experience. We have a different ability to control emotion, turn on and off. Like basically what you said is adjusting. And I think what Dr. Kathy Greenberg said, the best way to put that in perspective is you are a thermostat. When you come into a location, you control that temperature. You turn it up or you turn it down. You can't allow others to turn the heat up or turn it down. You have to be in control. And in this case, I think some of it might matter because these correctional officers, and we know when inmates are in prison or in the county jail, there are times when they play games, they're put up to different things, they have to do different things, or they choose to do it. They want to make correctional officers or the guards' lives more difficult. And what they do is, we know some of them cause problems, fake illnesses, say they're sick, pretend that they're having seizures and heart attacks because they want to be taken to the medical portion where they may get medical or medications for things, or they may try to escape or injure somebody else, or they're preventing their own injury because they may think that they're being attacked and they're trying to fake an injury so they can be taken away to a safer location. And I think it's possible that these inmates do that where correctional officers are irritated at that. And in this case, they're like, they already know this guy is faking it, and they pick him up and they start dragging him. And you're right. That's where experience and professionalism, you need to be able to control that and know he's faking it, and I'm irritated at that, or this is a legit situation. We're going to take him to the exam room. And then talking a little bit about the hospital section, they're trying to detain or control this person on a hospital bed for whatever procedure that he's having done. And you can see he's not really resisting, but he may be resisting or just being passive and these correction officers are just beating him to get him to kind of comply. But as we know, if you're handcuffed and you're being assaulted, you're going to try to protect yourself. And the only way to really do that is to turn on your side and ball up to protect your frontal organs. And you can see he does that. And then they keep punching him in the groin and the butt, trying to lay him out. It's really hard to watch. I'm not justifying their actions. I'm just saying there are ones that can't turn it off. And I think in this case, culture comes into play with that.
Yeah, I think typically when you see videos of cops behaving like this, where it seems like nobody in that room has an issue with it, like, to me, then that's something that probably occurs often. And the fact that you said that you say 4 of them are under investigation for, like, that truly doesn't blow my mind, because I think in a jail, and look, full disclosure, neither one of us have ever worked in a jail facility,
but we have spent enough time in them and watched similar incidents like this.
Yes,
from situations we've seen quite a bit of this.
Yeah, and I can truly say, and I'm not proud of this, but I've taken so many drunk people to jail for various different crimes, low level, from being drunk in public, not able to care for themselves, to heinous crimes. But when you book someone in jail, there are times when deputies tell the inmate or whoever you're booking to do something, and sometimes people are so drunk they don't know what they're doing. They're not comprehending what they're being told. They might do something a little out of line where they were told not to do it, and they're getting punished for it. I think historically that might have been the culture of most jail facilities. And I think their culture internally is, that's their house, and they're trying to basically set a precedence to these people. Like, you're not going to fuck around while you're in this jail facility, because, I mean, their deputies and correctional officers are way outnumbered. I mean, you have to have some type of control in these types of environments, because they'll overrun you so quick. So I understand that part of it and having structure. But
when you talk about the culture, and we watched that video for the first time, and I know our listeners have watched it, and I'm pretty confident most of us have the same blank stare, jaw open. Oh my, what in the F is this? That's sickening. It's hard to watch. Those are normal reactions from an incident like this. But if you watch those individuals that are in this room, they don't have that reaction.
Well, most of them are laughing or they're smiling,
which means they have been through this and seen this enough where it's not even bothering them. They're so desensitized, and this is normal behavior for them.
To include the nurse. So there was a nurse that was in the room. There were people saying that he should be fired. I'm not saying he shouldn't either way. I will say that for him, he's a civilian staff member, and he's being put in a position where he's with a bunch of correctional officers in this room. There's way more them than him. What's he going to do? Is he going to say, "Hey guys, stop doing that," or he's going to try to intervene and do something, and then they're going to basically fucking tell him to go sit in the corner? Like, that's what's going to happen. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have done that. He should have at least tried, because at least on camera, it's not going to show him laughing, which is really, it's what he's doing, which means he's seeing that stuff as well from his perspective.
He probably has seen that, and it's possible that he has been
desensitized also to it.
Well, yeah, in basically in a way controlled by them, because I know plenty of medical professionals, and if they were to see that, they would immediately intervene and say, hold on, we need to lay him back or sit this person up. We need other staff members in here. His facial expressions, or he's showing signs of this, or lay him in a recovery position on his side, or I need his handcuffs off because of this. Like,
but do you think that they would have actually done that if he tried to do that? I don't think they would have.
That's what I think, where maybe this nurse has been in that environment with those correctional officers enough where she's in a hard position, or anytime a nurse is in there, to be able to control that.
Yeah. And if that's the culture of the agency, how does somebody like that bring that to somebody's attention? Like, go to a higher ranking person and say, this is not okay. This is what happened. And then from there, things start to get investigated.
Well, here's where it gets more interesting though. There's 4 sergeants in this room. 4 supervisors are in this room.
Crazy.
And nothing is being done.
Crazy.
Financial. That feeling you get when you're on budget and on Cloud9. Let Financial become your every.
Is serious for a sergeant.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, I think the officers who laid hands on that guy the way that they did, they should absolutely be prosecuted. They should be held accountable. And I think every person that was in that room should be fired.
Period.
Immediately, they should already be terminated.
Period.
I think that behavior is unacceptable. I think in a world of people are wanting reform in law enforcement, we started this podcast literally during the worst possible time in law enforcement possible to start a YouTube channel about policing and throw it on YouTube when all the riots were going on. It was right after the George Floyd thing. It was during COVID. And I remember the conversation was like,
I agree.
we want to do this because there is nobody else being transparent with what cops do, why we do things the way we do it. And if cops make mistakes, let's just call it out for what it is, but like make it a education piece to it. Not Monday morning quarterbacking, not bad mouthing what people are doing.
Exactly.
Unless things like this come to light, which they deserve. That was the whole purpose of why we started this. And then like informing the public of more of the background of law enforcement in general. And I think it's gone very well for us. I think we've always stuck to that. I can't tell you guys how many people have reached out to us, whether it's via email, through social media, you name it, thanking us for doing this channel and sticking to our mission of calling things out the way that they are, why they happen, and then being transparent with the public. I mean, we get comments all the time on YouTube from people that are like, I don't like cops. I'm not even interested in policing, but I watch your channel. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And there's other channels out there who are cops, who have a different mission, who do their own thing. And that's just not what we do. And so I think that's why we bring stuff like this to light, because we're calling it out and we're saying it's not right. And people do want change in law enforcement. I feel like we're, I guess on a small scale, we try to be that change. I know that a lot of young cops watch these videos. They watch them in briefing. They email us, a lot. And sorry for everybody that messages us on social media or Instagram. We don't get back to everybody. It's very difficult. But the point is we do read those messages, and a lot of them are from younger officers. And if they're watching these videos and they learn something from it, and then they go out on the street and maybe behave themselves in a way that we're trying to tell you that we think you should behave and not do shit like this, then to me, that's a win for what we're doing.
Yeah, I agree. And I'd like to think that a majority of locations don't operate like this. They don't have that
Absolutely
culture. And this is coming to light in the body camera. And thankfully, they are able to go back and get that recording of this incident, because who knows? I mean, you have 13 people, 12 in there, 4 supervisors. Who knows if they even believe those cameras would even have gone back? I never thought the cameras could go backwards. It's highly possible that none of them thought this would ever be a problem. And then the person died a day later.
Well, I think
I'd like to see.
I think it wouldn't have been a problem had he not died. I don't think we would even have known about this had he not died.
Yeah.
They're not going to go back and look at the camera. If you look at the dude's face, I mean, he's pretty severely beaten. He's bleeding.
Well, he's pretty lethargic the entire time. Like he's not.
Here's the problem.
Physically fighting.
You have 4 supervisors in that room. That supervisor would be the one that would be bringing this to light of like, what happened to his face? And then go back and watch the body cam footage. Oh, you didn't have your camera on and this dude's face is all bloody? Well, that's a problem. You have the sergeants, the supervisors in the room.
Well, 4 of them are already under investigation.
I don't think it would have happened. I don't think we would have ever known about it. I don't think it would have come to light. I think had he not died, this would have continued to happen there. This would have remained the culture of that agency. And I hope after this, I don't even need to say I hope. I already know that there's going to be some serious consequences and changes that comes to that facility.
Yeah, and it kind of brings up the question of what is going on in that agency, because we already know 4 are under investigation for similar incidents of abuse of inmates, but they're still allowed to work. And now we have 4 supervisors that are in that room allowing this to happen. So what is going on in this investigation piece? Who's in the investigation? Is it sergeants that have overseen staff like this? They've been moved into investigations. Are they not looking into it? Are they covering up? Like,
I bet it'd be this is for sure will be a third party.
Yeah, it just goes into the culture, and this is the part of law enforcement that gets uncovered that makes people say, that's why I don't like law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're trying to change this culture and trying to bring light to a lot of situations and try to explain, like, from an internal perspective of what's actually happening. And we don't agree with this. Most people don't agree with this.
I would say you're a coward if you're beating on somebody who's shackled in handcuffs who couldn't even defend themselves.
Look at this one part of the video right here where he's sitting up and doing literally nothing but trying to breathe. And then this correction officer that's holding him just punches him out of for no reason. No reason at all. Like, where is this person's mindset? It's sickening.
Yeah. So we could talk a long time about this. And, hopefully if you're watching this video, please, I do want these videos to come to light. We want people to see these videos. It does take you to engage in the videos, whether you give the video a thumbs up, please drop a comment. Let us know what you think. That all helps trigger the algorithm so that these videos get pushed out to more people, right? And as silly as that sounds when you're two grown-ass men and cops saying, hey, hit the subscribe button, hit a like, and give us a comment. It really is true. It does help us with these videos. And I do think I would want a young cop to watch this video and seriously learn from it and know that you are held to a much higher standard than the average person in public. You are held to a standard that, like I said earlier, if you are trying to use or have used force on somebody, whether it be some type of use of force or even deadly force, and then now you have to flip that switch and go provide first aid to that person to save them, you have to learn how to be able to do that and control your emotions. And the only way to do that is to train for it. You can't just show up to stuff like this and think, oh, I'll be able to handle myself. Or you watch a video like this and you're like, I would never do that. Well, when you get really pissed off, it may trigger you to do something that you regret later on. And so that's all I want to say about it. I just think that it is such a unique profession in that you are held to such a higher standard. And the things that we have to do in this profession are like nothing else.
And if you're in a position where you see something like this, it takes a lot of courage, but you need to report it and understand who you're reporting it, what the process is to actually create documentation that it is being reported. And quite frankly, if you're in an agency or something where things are being covered up, you need to find another process for reporting this. Situations like this or incidents like this cannot continue. Like, we need to stop that. And I think that's why it's so important. It takes a lot of confidence to do that.
Well, in a lot of states now, you're mandated to, like, legally you have to. And if you don't, then you can be held accountable for it, which you should.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose your job and you're going to be decertified as a police officer, period.
Yeah. This is a tragic incident that, quite frankly, could and should have been prevented, could have been stopped in the middle of it. And Robert Brooks should not have lost his life, and his family are dealing with this now.
All right. I don't have much else to say about it. We don't condone it whatsoever. That's our professional and personal opinions on this matter. Please drop a comment. Let us know what you guys think about the video, how this could have been handled differently, and what do you think should happen to these officers that are involved in this entire incident. So thank you for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.
Stay safe and be smart.
Okay, y'all. So here we go. Hold on. Let me stop sharing this. So we got one more video, and that's just it's just 2 minutes of the son, Robert Jr. It's just 2 minutes of pretty much his last words, and his last things he had to say on the interview that he did. And then I'm gonna go ahead and end the show. And tomorrow I will be back with we're gonna cover some content for Naziah. So I'm gonna keep in. This is basically gonna be my content, probably for the next few days. It's the Robert Brooks case and Naziah's case. Tomorrow I want to go over some I want to go over the testimonies, of the family, and I already screen recorded like certain parts I wanted to hear, to try to verify a few things and just try to get brushed up, for everything. So that way I know by the time the trial start, everybody should at least have a real clear picture of what is actually going on now, and especially if it got to do with any updates before the trial start. So I do want to do that, because I really didn't get a chance to hear a lot of the trials. I got like bits and pieces of it. So yeah, we're gonna do that tomorrow. If I can do it early enough, then I can be able to come back later on that evening and try to kill two birds with one stone. Y'all know what I mean? So I got the video. I'm about to get ready and come back so I can share it with y'all. Then it's gonna be time for me to get me something to eat and lay it on down. Find me a movie. Y'all know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Thank you all for coming by, chilling with your girl. I really appreciate you. Love y'all dearly. So this is gonna be the last video, y'all. We've been on here for about 2 hours. This is a 2 minute and 26-second video of Robert Jr. On an interview that he did not too long ago. So here we go.
What did you see when you watched that video?
So what I seen was torture, was anger, and overall hate. A helpless man, and I see myself in him because I am his son. I felt helpless. It was just something that was out of control, something I couldn't control. It replays back all the time in my head. I could be in the shower or driving. It's like I keep living the same nightmare over and over. I'm terrified of them, of someone that can laugh and take a person's life with no remorse. It was murder. If there's no other word for it. They murdered my father. They robbed him. They robbed him from me. He doesn't get to come home. He had 12-year sentence and they gave him life. I think it's a power thing. My father was helpless. He didn't look aggressive. He looked like no anger in him. He looked like he was giving up and he just wanted help. They had no real reason to do what they did.
Your father was convicted of stabbing his ex-girlfriend, your mother.
Yes.
And that's why he was serving a 12-year sentence. You're his son. You clearly forgave him.
My father was serving his time. He did the crime and he was doing the time. That's what prison's for, is to correct someone, to help them in their time when they need help. I want people to know, just because they have the name inmate, that's not all they are. We all are humans. We all make mistakes. And he was a great man, regardless of his situation. My father was also writing his own little book about his life and everything he had to go through. And he just wanted to reframe himself and change the narrative on him. He just had big dreams to change his life around. And sometimes it's hard to even wake up and go to work. And it's scary sometimes for our safety. And it's scary that we're still having to deal with this in 2025. The world needs to see the video. Even though it's a horrendous thing, I truly believe it can spark a conversation for change. I want to where they can't do that to the next person. I want my father's legacy and his name to last forever, and not just from pain, but also for making a change to the world.
That is that. Thank y'all for joining me this evening. Hope everybody had a happy Sunday. Baby, tomorrow is Monday. It's time to get back to business. I thank you all for joining me tonight again. Y'all have a blessed evening. And I'm about to head on up out of here. Y'all try to get me something on my little belly. I love y'all. Toodles. Thank you. I see you, Britt. She said, I'm sorry, but nothing will ever change in this world, unfortunately. Baby, we got to just pray for the best and do the best that we can. That's all we can do, Britt. That's all we can do. Yes, Kia, please catch the replay because I mean that's what all the any updates and everything, is in the beginning. Like seriously, anything that you need to know, or whatever that you probably didn't know is definitely in the beginning, all through this video. Good night, y'all. Yes, have a good night. Love you too, Rebecca. I'll talk to y'all later. And don't keep it cute, y'all. Keep it cute.